This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, and beginning at verse 1, it reads, Better is the poor that walketh in his integrity than he that is perverse in his lips and is a fool. All right, shalom, shalom, Akim. Before I begin, I want to start off by giving our praises, honor, and infinite glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakorash. All right, double honor to the elders and to the apostles, Salakia, of the great millstone who wrote and teach well. Peace, blessings, salutations unto the hopeful elect, Wa'akwath, who are listening in truth and sincerity. Hey, I'm the brother Gabari Allah. All right, excuse me for 1 second. Salakia, I'm the brother Gabari Allah out here in East Los Angeles, California, bringing you another lesson through the Spirit. And this lesson is going to be entitled continuation of my the series, Qualities of Being a Leader. All right, I believe this is part 4. All right, and this lesson is going to be a bit on the shorter side, okay? And it's about honesty. Now, of course, these are already things that brothers, already naturally do, but I just wanted to emphasize it a little bit. It ain't gonna be a long lesson. I just wanted to knock this one out the park. It could really go with integrity, because you can't have integrity without honesty. And if you're not honest, you don't have integrity. They go hand in hand. But that's why I opened up with the book of Proverbs 19:1. It reads, Better is the poor that walketh in his integrity. All right, and that was part 1 of this series, okay, that I made integrity. Than he that is perverse in his lips and is a fool, this ministry is called what? The truth. It's the truth. All right, John 8:32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. We are free because why? We know this truth. We know Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. We know this ministry. We believe in truth and in sincerity, man. All right, being honest. And really be honest with yourself, man. Being honest with other people, but be honest with yourself, man. Are you really putting in the things that are necessary? Do you really believe with your actions, with what you do when the camera's off? Do you really believe in this thing? Can you really visualize yourself being, a king? You know what I mean? Or is you just saying this just so you don't offend the brothers, or you just because you like the brothers now and you like them as friends, and you're going to close bond. Of course you're going to grow close bond with the Akim, but the reason being is this ministry, this truth. So being honest overall yourself and being honest in general with the Akim, and yeah, there's certain things where you tell a white lie, so to speak, where it doesn't really affect anything. But when concerning this ministry and concerning this truth and things inside this truth, you have to be honest, man. You got to be honest, and honest with yourself. Are you putting in the work? You can lie to men, you can't lie to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. So be honest with yourself. And be honest to the brothers, man. You got to stop with that lying BS, because why? You could lie to the men of the Lord, but they're going to see right through you. Why? Because what does the scripture say? Real quick. Bear with me. Salakia, but we shall bear with me. All right, now the book of man, that's not what I want. Salakia, bear with me, Akim. We have been given that spirit of discernment, man. All right, real quick. I'll just get this one right here. This one will do. 1 John chapter 4. Let me grab that. 1 John 4 and 1. All right. It's a lot here, brothers. I'm usually more prepared than this. It's just out of the, out of the spirit. But this is 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. It reads, "Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they be of power, whether it be of the Most High, because many false prophets are gone out into the world." Right? Many false prophets, man. All right. What makes you a false prophet? Lying. Like, imagine, doing certain shit that's just, the men of the Lord, they wasn't lying concerning this ministry. They wasn't, when it came to this truth, and when, Jeremiah was out there prophesying, he wasn't lying, man. He was out there telling it how it is, man. Stop trying to sugarcoat shit. You a leader. You gotta, if you're a leader, you're not gonna be sugarcoating shit, man. You're gonna tell it how it is every time. And that's how you're supposed to be in this ministry when you're out there prophesying. The scripture says, spare, real quick, let me grab that. All right. Because what did the Lord command us to do? He told us to lift up thy voice like a trumpet, man. Okay, Isaiah 58 and verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not. What do you think we're sparing? Or what do you think we're not sparing? Your fucking feelings, man. And we don't give a damn about your feelings, bro. Straight up. We tell you how it is, whether you like it or not, man. Okay? Because guess what? We telling you this ministry, we telling you the truth, man. If there's a train, if you're on a fucking train track and the train is coming your way, I'm going to tell you the truth. Get the fuck out of there or you're going to die. You can be like, well, you using hard feelings, or you're using rough words. Stop cussing at me. You all that crying and bitching about the way I'm talking to you. I'm giving you this warning. Next thing you know, you're gonna get splattered all over the fucking train tracks. So we crying aloud. We not sparing your feelings, man. We don't care. We're not sparing anything concerning the Bible. We'll give you all the accounts, man. All of them. There's many lamentations in the Bible. This book is a bloody book, man. The Bible it's a gory book, man. It really is, bro. And we telling you these things, man. We're telling you what's going to come to pass. We're not sparing your feelings. We're telling you what? The truth. We're being honest with you. Isaiah 58 and 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and shew my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins. And you can't do that if you're just lying and shit, man. You can't do that if you're trying to spare someone's feelings. When you're out there in the highways and hedges, you gotta be bold, man. You can't be on no bitch spirit, so to speak. We gotta tell you the truth, man. We gotta tell you how it is. Stop trying to spare people's feelings. Stop having respect of persons, man. Just because some dude looks big and bad, you're gonna spare that nigga feelings. Nah, tell him he's gonna die. And if you have faith, the Lord is gonna put his spirit. He's not even gonna touch you, man. How about that? If the Lord be with you, if you believe. If you don't believe, hey, that's on you, bro. Okay. It says, yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways. You see, they delight to know the Lord's name, the Most High's ways, Salakia. As a nation that did righteous and forsook not the ordinance of their power. They ask of me the ordinances of justice. They take delight in approaching to power. Okay? So it's all about being honest, man. You know, and the scriptures have a beautiful account of this. You know, as a matter of fact, one of the first things that King Solomon was, he was dealing with a lying ass harlot, and a harlot that was, you know, she had a baby. You know, let me grab that account through the spirit actually. Hey, call Allah Yahweh Hashem Shai, Tawadi Yahweh Hashem Shai. All right. All right. You know, because, oh man. Yes, sir, here it is. 1 Kings chapter 3 and verse 16, it reads, Then came there 2 women that were harlots unto the king, and stood before him. The one woman said, O my lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass, the 3rd day after I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also, and we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we 2 in the house. And this woman's child died in the night, because she overlaid it. And she arose at midnight, and took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. So pretty much 2 harlots are going up to King Solomon, you know, and one of the harlots pretty much complains to him, like, yo, this, you know, this woman took my kid, because her kid died. And she swapped our kids, and now I got her dead kid, and she got my kid. And so she's like trying, you know, she's emotional, you know, she's probably crying and stuff, you know, because this woman just stole her kid, you know. And it says, and when I arose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son which I did bear. So she's like, wait, hold on a minute. This ain't my fucking kid. She's like, yo, this ain't my fucking kid. You know. It says, and the other woman said, nay, but the living is my son, and the dead thy son. And this said, no, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake to the king. So they're both like pointing the finger at each other pretty much. Then said the king, the one saith, this is my son that liveth, and thy son is dead. But the other saith, nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living. And the king said, bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, divide the living child into 2, and give half of the one and half to the other. So King Solomon's like, you know what? Just cut the fucker in half and give one half to one, and give the other half to the other. Because one of them was lying. One of the harlots was lying. You see? It says, then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, let it be neither mine or thine, but divide it. So you see, now King Solomon being wise, using wisdom, he was able to see who was honest. She's like, okay, through her actions, do I know that she's being honest now? Because she would rather see her son get raised by another woman than see her son dead. That was King Solomon seeing that, okay, she's being honest with me. So look, now it reads, then the king answered and said, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of the Most High was in him to do judgment. Right? You know? So, because the woman was being honest, okay, King Solomon granted her child back. All right? You know, so it's all about, you know, being honest, man. You know, being honest. You see, and King David was one of the most honest individuals ever. Him being shit, he was honest to himself. Shoot, he was honest. Real quick, man. Let me get that. I think that's Psalms 19. believe that's Psalm 19. No, that's fire, but it might have been Psalm 16, man. Oh, what the hell? Bear with me, Baba Gashah. Let me grab this real quick. I'll close out soon because it ain't meant to be a long lesson. You know, all right. Psalm 18 and 31. For who is the Most High, saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Or who is a rock, save our power? It is power that girdeth me with strength, and maketh my way perfect. He maketh my feet like hinds' feet, and setteth me upon my high places. You see? So King David was on it. He was like, look, this is all the doing of the Most High. This is all Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You know? This is all the Lord. He was honest. All right? He was honest. And you see and I always compare these two because why? Because there's a distinct thing, man, where King David was an honest individual and King Saul was a fucking asshole. He wasn't an honest individual. You know? Because why? He wasn't honest with himself and he wasn't honest with the people. You know, because the Lord commanded him to kill the Amalekites. And he didn't want to do it. You know? He didn't want to do it, man. Okay, and what happens to all those individuals who weren't honest? Like that dude in the book of Esther, which I made a whole lesson about. That dude in the book of Esther, what happened to him? He was trying to get Mordecai killed. You know, read that book of Esther, man. It's a beautiful book. It's only like 10 chapters, and you got the rest of the book of Esther in the Apocrypha. But you know, read the first 10 chapters in the Bible. You know, the book of Esther gives you the whole account. Esther, this beautiful woman. You know, and this fucking asshole, I believe his name is Haman. His fucking asshole. He tried to pretty much put Mordecai to death. You know, he was trying to make him get hung. You know, so he already had the buildings where he was gonna hang him at. He had all that shit set up. You know, but he was a lying individual, so to speak. So what happened to him? You know, he was the one that ended up getting hung. Why? Because the actions of Mordecai. Mordecai was proven. You know, Mordecai saved the king at the time from these other two dudes who were trying to get at him. You know? And what did Mordecai inherit? He inherited everything that Haman was supposed to inherit. You see? Now, real quick. What was I going to grab? I was going to grab something. All right. Because why? Well, what is lying also referring to? It's one of the commandments. You know? Exodus 20 and verse 16. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Meaning what? You're lying. You know, you can't be a leader. You can't be a prophet and lying on another brother, man. Yeah, come on, bro. Real quick. All right. Psalms 35. Let me see this real quick. And I'll close out here through spirit. All right, because it ain't meant to be a long lesson. But the spirit, you know, we'll have the Lord have it go. You know, 35, and I'll start at verse. The point is at verse 11. I'll start at verse 1 and jump down. Plead my cause, O Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, with them that strive with me. Fight against them that fight against me. Take hold of a shield and buckler, and stand up for mine help. Draw out the spear, and stop the way against them that persecute me. Saying to my soul, I am thy salvation. You see? So again, King David being honest with himself, saying, look, the Lord is the one who is the one that's gonna get pretty much save me out of this. He's gonna save my soul. You see? Now I'm gonna jump down to verse 6. Let their way be dark and slippery. Let the angel of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, persecute them. You see? For who without cause have hid, for who without cause have they hid from me their net in a pit, and which without cause have they digged for my soul. You see, right? Because without cause, they were trying to kill King David. You know, chasing him and shit. He had to run for his life. Let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he hath hid catch himself. Into that very destruction, let him fall. You know? So that same persecution, that same bullshit that these people are going to eventually tell on us, they're going to be bearing false witness to us. Okay? They're going to label us terrorists and shit. They label us what? What do they label? The men of Great Millstone and those who follow their doctrine. You know? They always accuse the men. Always been, since I've been in this ministry, they have always accused the men of the Lord on some bullshit. And they have never once been found out to be true. Not once. All bearing false witness. But what was found out about them? They ended up being the ones that was doing all this shit, man. All that wickedness. You know? It says, and my soul shall be joyful in the Lord. It shall rejoice in his salvation. All my bones shall say, Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, who is like unto thee, which deliverest the poor from him that is too strong for him. Yea, the poor and the needy from him that spoileth him. Right? King David is admitting to himself. He's being honest to himself. He's like, look, I am still needy. I'm poor. You know, and the Lord is going to be the one that deliver me. Not me. Verse 11, here's the point. False witnesses did rise up. They laid to my charge things that I knew not. They rewarded me for evil. It's like they rewarded me evil for good, to the spoiling of my soul. You see? But as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I humbled my soul with fasting, and my prayer returned into my bosom. You see? Because these fucking assholes were treating King David like shit, man. Bearing false witness against him. But what did King David say? When they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I humbled my soul with fasting, and my prayer returned into my bosom. I behaved myself as though he had been my friend or brother. I bowed down heavily as one that mourneth for his mother. But in mine adversary, they rejoiced and gathered themselves together. Yea, the abjects gathered themselves together against me, and I knew it not. They did tear me, and ceased not. With hypocritical mockers in feast, they gnashed upon me with their teeth. How long, Lord, how long wilt thou look on? Rescue my soul from their destructions, my darling from their loins. I will give thee thanks in the great congregation. I will praise thee among much people. Why? Because it's the Lord delivering him. Let not them that are mine enemies wrongfully rejoice over me, neither let them wink with the eye that hate me without cause. Right, man. For they speak not peace, but they devise deceitful matters against them that are quiet in the land. when they opened their mouth wide against me, and said, Aha, aha, our eyes hath seen it. This thou hast seen, O Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Keep not silence, O Lord, be not far from me. Stir up thyself and awake to my judgment, even unto my cause, my power, my Lord. Judge me, O Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, my power, according to thy righteousness, and let them not rejoice over me. Let them not say in their hearts, so would we have it. Let them not say we have swallowed him up. Let them be ashamed and brought to confusion together that rejoice at mine hurt. Let them be clothed with shame and dishonor that magnify themselves against me. Let them shout for joy and be glad that favor my righteous cause. Yea, let them say continually, let the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai be magnified, which hath pleasure in the prosperity of his servant. And my tongue shall speak of thy righteousness, all thy praise, of thy praise all day long. You see, so King David was, pretty much put curses on you individuals, who are bearing false witness, who are being deceitful, who are not being honest, man. So, Lord willing was edifying. Like I said, I don't know how long this lesson was, but, through the Spirit, we're going to close out with that. I want to give our praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Chakwarash, Divine yet again to the elders and to the apostles of the Great Millstone who run teach all. Peace, blessings, salutations unto the hopeful elect, walk, watch, for listening in truth and in sincerity. With that, I say shalom.